Hey everyone, welcome to today's Explainer. Today we're diving into a deeply profound, mystical text that tackles one of the oldest spiritual questions in human history, the journey of our own consciousness. We're going to break down exactly what this source material has to say about the literal internal battle between light and darkness. And this isn't just abstract philosophy. As you'll see, this text maps out the specific mechanics of the mind. So get comfortable, clear your head, and let's unpack the secrets hidden within these words together. Now, I want you to just listen to this quote for a second. But if your eye is evil, your whole body will be full of darkness. Man, it's a striking statement, right? The text kicks things off with this incredibly intense, almost shocking premise. Notice how it speaks directly to you, referring to your eye and your body. It instantly begs the question, how on earth can an evil eye plunge an entire physical body into complete darkness? What does that actually mean for us on an individual level? Well, to answer that, we need to look directly at the source material we're analyzing today. This right here is the actual excerpt we're decoding. Now, just to be clear, my goal here isn't to take any ideological sides or push a specific religious viewpoint on you. As an explainer, my job is to guide you objectively through exactly what this text is communicating, step by step. By examining the precise phrasing they use, we can unlock this really fascinating psychological and spiritual framework without getting bogged down in outside interpretations. Okay, let's jump right into section 1, the secret of the dark body. So the text immediately addresses the whole problem it just threw at us in that opening quote. It forces us to completely redefine our understanding of what an evil eye and darkness actually represent. We're shifting entirely away from the idea of physical blindness and moving toward a definition that is all about human consciousness. The source material states that this is not a physical affliction at all. Instead, it describes a condition where the inclination of your mind is downwards. Specifically, it mentions this happens when your consciousness remains below the center of the eyes. Think about that spatial metaphor for a second. When our internal focus, our conscious attention, drops below that center and focuses entirely downward toward the material world, well, that is exactly what causes us to see nothing but darkness. And that brings us to section 2, slavery of senses and illusion. So once the consciousness drops, like we just talked about, what happens next? The text gives us a really stark cause and effect relationship here, arguing that this downward shift isn't just some harmless distraction. No, it's a trap. When consciousness rests below the eye center, the direct result is a complete slavery to the physical senses. The text explicitly states that if you fall into this downward inclination, you become a slave to those senses. Your entire existence becomes dictated by what you can touch, taste, hear, and see in the material world. It effectively locks your consciousness into this narrow physical cage. This is an absolutely crucial point because of how the text redefines darkness. It's definitely not talking about, just turning off the lights in a room. The source material explains that if you are a slave to your senses, you will always remain in darkness. But it defines this darkness as the darkness of ignorance and illusion, and states that this state will always remain. So we're talking about a psychological and spiritual blindness where you are completely convinced by the illusion of the sensory world, totally ignorant of anything higher. Which leads us perfectly into section 3, the deep inner darkness. Here, the text takes this whole concept of illusion one step further, warning us about the absolute ultimate form of self-deception. I mean, it's one thing to be in the dark, right? But it's an entirely different level of tragedy to be in the dark while firmly believing you're standing in the light. Just listen to the gravity of this next quote from the text. If therefore the light that is in you is darkness, how great is that darkness? It's the ultimate paradox. The text is pointing out that because we're so trapped in the illusion of our senses, what we mistakenly believe to be our internal truth, our inner guiding light, is actually just more illusion. When your supposed light is actually darkness, the internal darkness isn't just bad, it's absolute. It's a profound, inescapable density. Let's explore the severe consequences of this state in section 4, returning to the world again. Now, the author doesn't just leave us stranded in this dark state. They explain the cosmic, mechanical result of living a life entirely enslaved by the senses and internal illusion. The text lays out a pretty tragic logical flow here. Step 1. As long as there is total darkness inside and out, we become spiritually lost. Step 2. Because of that, we simply cannot find our way home. And step 3. Because we're lost, we are forced to return to this world again and again. The text explicitly links this inner darkness to a cycle of forced return, or essentially reincarnation. Being lost in illusion directly causes us to repeat the cycle of worldly existence, purely because we literally cannot see the path to leave it. But thankfully, the text actually provides a solution in our final section, Section 5, Light and the Return Home. This final passage of our source material shifts the tone entirely. We go from the heavy trap of the material world straight to the hope of liberation. It provides the exact antidote to that cycle of returning we just discussed. The text states very clearly, we can search for the path leading to our home only in the light. Think back to the beginning, where consciousness was dragged downward into the senses. The implication here is that finding our true spiritual home requires the exact opposite action. We have to elevate our consciousness away from that sensory illusion and actively seek out that true internal illumination. Without that light, searching for the way out is practically impossible. To summarize the text's final, profound message, it lays out a definitive rule. If your goal is going back to the Supreme Father, then there is a strict prerequisite. It says unequivocally that it is absolutely necessary to see that light. You can't bypass it. You can't just intellectualize your way out of the sensory trap. Experiencing and actually seeing that true inner light is the fundamental, unavoidable requirement to finally navigate your way out of the darkness and return to your spiritual origin. Which brings us to the ultimate question derived from this fascinating text. Are you ready to seek that light to return to the Supreme Father? The text argues that right now our focus is tilted downward, completely trapped by what we can touch and see. But it also promises that a path home absolutely exists, provided we're willing to shift our consciousness upward and seek genuine illumination. It's a powerful challenge about where exactly we direct our inner focus every single day. I hope this explainer provided you with a clear, focused understanding of this remarkable piece of source material. Until next time, keep exploring and keep seeking the light.